As a football community, we are so lucky that we have two teams who are willing to put on these kind of spectacles for us. We're lucky. We're lucky because without them, phew, well, we got Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal, or watching Arsenal versus Sporting. I ain't trying to see them type of dead games in knockout Champions League supposed to be elite level football. I ain't trying to see that. Listen, big up to Arsenal every single time. That was just a little shot at you guys. But that game, that game showed me, and I think it showed everybody, which we already knew, but sometimes you almost need that visual confirmation. That game showed everybody there are quality teams, because there are a lot of, there's a few quality teams, should I say, out there in world football, and there are elite level teams. For me, that's what I watched. I watched elite level football. Now, one of the lazy narratives, and I was going to do a whole tactical I said, we don't even need to do that. One of the lazy narratives I kept seeing after the game, and it's so funny because it's only coming from teams who support English clubs, which, surprise, surprise, um, one of the narratives that I kept seeing was the defending. So you watched a game where two of the best teams in world football scored 9 goals between them, and maybe at a push, I would say maybe 2 goals at a push. So maybe you're looking at Usman Dembele's goal, second goal, or maybe Upamecano's goal. So I'm not going to argue with you if that's what you think. I'm definitely not going to do that. Let's just say we'll use those two as an example because that's where I would even be like, defending, blah blah blah. You saw 2 goals out of 9, and your first comments after the game is, or during the game, is poor defending. That's where the line was drawn, right? Fair enough. Okay, no worries. For some weird reason, people watched that game, and I saw some people commenting during the game talking about the defending. I said, when you've got two elite teams, right? And they play a similar style of football, obviously, but you've got two elite teams going at it. You're probably not going to watch a game where they're just going to sit there and chill. Now, granted, didn't think it'll be a 9 goal thriller. That I did not think. But I definitely didn't sit there and think, yeah, this is going to be super defense. Well, in the first leg, that was never happening. It was definitely going to be goals. Like anybody who bets, yeah, in my mind, it was always going to be over 2.5. Which way it swung, I don't know. But it was definitely one of those type of games because they're two managers who they want to just play football and they believe in themselves so much. I think what's happened, in my opinion, is a lot of people are quite jealous. They understand that they don't have the manager of that level of quality. They don't have the players of that level of quality. So now it's coming out in this kind of jealous tweets and little things that people were saying during the game. And I'm like, yeah, just stay over there, guys. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. You don't possess a team or players or manager of this quality. So you probably don't really know what it's like, in order to see good football between two good footballing teams. And I think that in itself is so key. We're so used, obviously, as a Premier League fan, we're so used to watching this shitty football every single week. We're so gassed that we can say that Burnley might get a result against a Chelsea, or Sunderland can draw against a Liverpool or Arsenal. We're so excited by those kind of things. Even though the football is crap, we're just excited to be able to say that when it comes to elite level football and we get shown up from time and time and time and time again in terms of the footballing ability, yeah, it just, like I said, it just comes out in this kind of weird, just, yeah, like, honestly, it bugs me when I see things like this. I'm like, you really watch that game and poor defending is what you came up with? Like, come on, man. Like, you've got guys, we've got to do so much better, man. You've got to do so much better. You're like fans of who talk like this, fans of teams, or just fans of football teams in general. When you say stuff like this, it just makes me think, oh, so you like the way football is right now. You like the fact that it's not enjoyable to watch for anybody in terms of just as a general spectacle, unless we're watching PSG, Bayern Munich, Barcelona kind of thing. Like outside of those, and maybe like a few odd random teams, it's kind of boring to watch. Like, it's usually those games are the ones that are the most entertaining. Barcelona faced off against Atletico Madrid. It's not because Atletico Madrid play good football like that. It's because Barca play in a way that allows for people to be entertained when they watch. Now, granted, Barcelona, yeah, they're defensively, blah blah blah. But yeah, PSG and Bayern, this is elite football. This is the type of football that we should be watching on a more consistent basis. Maybe not to that level, because as I say, not I mean, it's only those two teams who have those players and only those two teams who have those managers. But we should definitely be watching football in a similar type of fashion where we're coming out of games and we're saying, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed watching that game. I really sat there and said, "Yeah, this is what it's really about." People who don't even support. How many people actually really support PSG or Bayern? Do you got, not to say they don't have millions of fans, but just in a general sense, we don't support them. But guess what? Everyone in England's watching that game. We're all watching the game and we're excited. We're happy to watch the game as a neutral. That's what you want in a football match if you do not support the teams. You want to be able to watch the game and say, at least the game was enjoyable. Unfortunately, what we're getting at the moment is not that. So when people talk about defending this and yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, if we dream, by the way, people dream in England anyway. They dream of being able to be as good or play as good as a PSG or a Bayern Munich. They dream to have the players of the quality of Elise, Luis Diaz. Well, Luis Diaz this season, Harry Kane, Jamal Musiala, Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Dembele, Barcola, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, Kimmich, Joao Neves, Hakimi, Mendes, Neuer, Alfonso Davies. We dream of having those level of play. We don't have that, especially in England. We do not have that. We really, really do not have that. So when we're watching this football, we're getting gassed because we saw a draw between freaking Spurs and bloody whoever. Yeah, that lets me know, yeah, you lot are just so tapped when it comes to talking and watching football and stuff like that, that it just comes across as just this level of jealousy. Now I can say I'm jealous. I'm definitely jealous of watching that football. I would love to have. I'm like, I'm envious. You know what I'm saying of watching teams like that. I wish my team played like that. Me, you know what I'm saying? I wish I had players of that kind of quality, but I don't. So I'm stuck watching this crap every single flipping week and trying to make it out like it's something great. And when we see a nutmeg, we're getting gassed and we're like, oh my god, like, well, come on, man. This is elite level football. And what we watched, that PSG versus Bayern, that was quality. That was real, genuine quality. They wouldn't have looked out of place in terms of just those two teams and that kind of game. That game wouldn't have looked out of place in the 2010s. You know what I'm saying? You know, when we had real good footballing teams and just good teams in general, they wouldn't have looked out of place in that kind of era. Whereas now they're just like this random anomaly like that we didn't even know that we were going to get. But now, thank God, we've got teams of this kind of quality. Hence why one of them two have to win the Champions League just for the sake of football. They need to save it. You know what I mean? We can't have an Atletico Madrid or an Arsenal winning that because it's like that's everything that's wrong. You know what I mean? In my opinion, just with the football in itself. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And I think that was one of the things that I kind of took away from the game. It wasn't even so much about the game in itself. It was the fact that people said that they were moaning almost. And I was like, you can't have it both ways. You can't complain that the football's boring in one sense or that it's not that enjoyable. But then when you see an enjoyable game, it's like, oh yeah, but the defending is poor. Stop coming up with reasons. Stop making excuses. Just tell everybody you're jealous, you're envious, like I just did there. Just tell everybody you're jealous. And I think if you tell everybody that, they'll understand where you're coming from and why you make such stupid comments. And they are very, very stupid. Do you know what I mean? Very, very, very stupid. Because, like I said, there's no way you watch that game and your takeaway was that. There was, like I said, there's probably about 2 goals in the game where I'll give you the bly on that and I'll say, Fairs. If you moaned about the defending in these 2 moments, Dembele's goal and Upamecano's goal, I'm not going to argue. I'm actually not going to argue. I'll be like, you know what, Fairs, yeah, you know what, you got a point there. There was no other goal in the game that I said that was poor defending. Luis Diaz's goal was nuts. That touch, the finish, Kvaratskhelia, both his goals, nuts. Dembele's goal, nuts. Elise's goal, nuts. We didn't even get to even see a Vitinha, drop even a master. He couldn't. The game was just, I feel like even, well, obviously he's playing the game, but when I feel like even he was just like swallowed up by the game and like how good the game actually just was. Like he didn't even need to, or he couldn't even really do his type of thing. Like you can't do that against a team that's equally playing as good as you. Like it's just one of them kind of things. Usually he's far better than every other midfielder in world football, bar maybe Pedri. Do you get what I'm saying? But when you come up against a midfielder, and I'm not even saying that he's not better than a Kimmich kind of thing. I'm not even saying he's better than a Pavlovic or a Goretzka or whoever in the middle of the park. But it's just more that the team is operating at a similar level to you. So the reality is you trying to control that game. It's going to be so difficult. It's going to be so difficult. And obviously that game wasn't necessarily about control. Ultimately, this is why this format of the Champions League is amazing. I love no away goals. That's the best, one of the best things that they've ever done for Champions League football. Get rid of that shit. It's crap. We don't need it. It makes for boring games. This is what we want to see. We want to see attacking football. Teams just saying, forget the away goals thing. I'm just trying to win on the night. And that's what should be happening in knockout football anyway. You're trying to win on the night. And that's exactly what we saw, in the game. And I think, like I said, anybody moaning about that game, yeah, football's not for you, bro. Football's actually not for you. Watch cricket. It seems kind of boring. I hear it in some people's houses, and that seems like a boring sport. Golf equally as boring. Maybe tennis might be more your speed. Probably. I mean, it's a fast paced kind of. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you might like that kind of thing. Yeah, just watch that. Just focus on stuff like that because football is just not for you. If that's not a game that you don't put in your 2 to 3 games that you've seen in 2026. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, if it's not, I would love to actually know what games you've watched that are probably better than that because I do not know. That's definitely my top 2 games I've seen this year. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I said, amazing quality, amazing players, amazing manager, amazing teams, just a brilliant watch, quality all round. And yeah, let's just hope the second leg is like that. Let's just hope because we already know that unless they surprise us, we already know that Atletico versus Arsenal, I don't see that kind of quality. Like, they don't even have that quality anyway. They got quality players, of course they do, just not to that kind of level, barring Julian Alvarez, and that's about it kind of thing. Like, other than that, they don't really possess that type of quality. Like, their quality comes in defensive football and in their defense. So that just means, yeah, when you've got no other players in the team who possess that level of quality, we're just gonna see some boring football. I hope not, though. I really hope that I'm having to eat my words and I'm coming back at the end of that game and I'm saying, you know what, that was a really good game. That was a really, really good game. But listen, we'll wait and see. We'll see how that one pans out. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts on what people saying about the defending. Was that something that you actually generally thought when you watched that game and you finished watching that game that the defending was actually shit in this game? If so, let me know in the comment section. I would love to know what you guys think. I'll catch you guys soon.